guys, this is Madison Dennis with MHD Beauty and MHD Cosmetics out of Nashville, Tennessee. Today I'm doing a makeup tutorial for those of you that are 50 and older. So we've got our model here, Miss Jean, and the first thing I'm doing is wiping her face all over with a makeup wipe. It's really important before you put your makeup on to make sure that all of your dirt and oils and any other traces of makeup are removed. The next thing I'm doing is she expressed that her skin was a little dry, so I am applying some Embryolisse moisturizer to her face, and I'm kind of just painting it on. I'm doing a pretty thick layer, but she did have some extremely dry patches, so I am just putting that on all over her face and jaw area. So next I am using our Primetime Eye Primer. I'm going to do her eyes very first, and I'm blending it out with our blender sponge. The reason I do the eyes first is so that we can really be very blendy and messy with our eyeshadow, because blended eyeshadow is the best. And then we can kind of clean up that whole area around the eye to clean up the fallout before applying foundation. And the Primetime is a really good product because, as you can see, it's a corrector. It kind of has a yellow. So if you've got dark eyelids, it's just something great to put on there before applying your eyeshadow. So I'm starting with our eyeshadow called Pebbles. And I'm just applying a really liberal amount all over the area where I applied the Primetime. And essentially what I'm doing is I'm just using this color to set the Primetime. Next, I'm using a little bit of our eyeshadow called Biscuit, and I'm just going ahead and highlighting her inner corner in the tear duct area. Next, I'm using our eyeshadow in the color Urban, and I'm applying that to the outer half of her lid. And I'm just really being careful to blend it in so that it almost looks like a gradient between that outer corner and the inner corner. You don't want to really be able to see exactly where one color ends and the other begins with your eyeshadow. So now I'm taking our eyeshadow in the color Cactus, and I am just accentuating that outer crease just to really open her eyes up. She's got a little bit smaller eyes like I do, so I am just deepening the crevice there in the outer crease, and then I'm kind of blending it into her orbital bone or her crease, and I'm fading it as it goes in toward her tear duct area. And then I'm just super blending it out. I'm just using a clean brush here to blend it out. So next I'm using our eyeshadow in the color Romanza. As you can see, Miss Jean has beautiful blue eyes. So I am just using this color in the upper crease, so the orbital bone area, to blend out those browns and to also try to bring out a little bit more of the blue in her eyes. So now I'm just taking a makeup wipe and I'm really cleaning up all of that excess eyeshadow that may have fallen down in that area, and I'm also kind of cleaning up the eyeshadow in the outer corners so that it kind of goes up at an angle. Now I'm using our Camera Ready Foundation Primer. This is excellent for aging skin because it has silicone in it and it also has water, so it's going to hydrate. It's also going to smooth out any fine lines and wrinkles that you may have. It's not going to make them go away, but it's really going to help give your foundation just a really smooth canvas to go onto. So now I'm using our High Def Foundation. Miss Jean is the color C25, and I'm using a Morphe foundation brush. It's the M439 by Morphe. And I'm just buffing a really, really light coat of this foundation all over Miss Jean's face. You never want to apply too much foundation, especially if you have aging skin, because you could risk it settling into your fine lines and wrinkles. So you want to make sure that you're using a product like our high def foundation, which is something that has a really high ratio of pigment to other ingredients. And what that means is it just has more of the coloring ingredients rather than ingredients that make the product spread around. So it's going to allow you to add a little bit of product but still get that good coverage to kind of counteract any discoloration that you may have and just give you a nice even skin tone to work with moving forward. And I'm just continuing to blend this in with the Morphe M439 brush. It's a really, really, really dense but soft foundation brush, and I've really enjoyed using it recently. I just find that it allows, more blending before taking the sponge to it, which I like to do at the end. And it also allows for you to not use too much of the product. And you'll notice I did not apply any of the foundation to the under eye area because we are just going to be applying concealer there in a minute. I'm just taking a foundation brush and touching up any areas of discoloration that I felt like needed a little more foundation. Now I'm using Smashbox Under Eye Primer. So this is a primer made specifically for the under eye area. I like to use this on my mature clients because they have usually have some bags going on, fine lines, and some darkness, and this product is a good primer and smoother for that. And now I'm using our liquid concealer, and I put a little bit on my hand, and I'm actually applying that with a fluffy brush from Sephora. So I'm applying it to the under eye area, and then I'm blending it out with a damp sponge. And that's very, very important because, again, you don't want that to settle. So I'm also using our high def loose powder, and I'm taking the damp sponge and I dipped it into the powder, and then that is what I'm using to set the concealer. You don't want to use too much powder to set the concealer with because, again, it will settle into fine lines. So that's the most important thing about doing this makeup. You just want to make sure that everything you do is light and will not settle into the fine lines to accentuate them. So I did the concealer on the other side, and then I am applying the powder with the damp sponge, just like I did on the side before. And just blending that out lightly with a brush. And then I'm just touching up a few of those areas on her cheek where she had a little bit more redness with our concealer. Our concealer does have, no matter what shade, it all has correctors in it. It's got like a little bit of a yellow pigment, so it will correct some of that discoloration. Now what I'm using is our high def invisible blotting pressed powder and our mineral buffer brush, and I'm just applying a very light coat of that all over Miss Jean's face, and that is just to set the foundation, just to ensure that it has more of a long wear ability. If you are not wearing your foundation for all day, and if your skin is a little bit drier, you don't have to set this with powder, but I like to do that, especially for when my clients are going to events and their makeup is needing to last for a little bit longer. So now I'm skipping contouring altogether, and I'm doing blush, and I'm using the color Sultry, and I'm kind of mixing between Sultry and Drizzle. I don't want Miss Jean's face to be super rosy, but I also want to have I want her to have good color. So that's why I'm mixing the two, and I'm kind of using drizzle on the back side as kind of a bronzer. And just blending that out, blending those edges out with my powder brush. Now I'm using our Spotlight, which is our press illuminator, and I'm applying that to the tops of her cheekbones. And what this does is this just gives you a little bit of a glow back. You don't want to apply this to any areas where you have a lot of wrinkles concentrated, because it will illuminate those wrinkles. So that tight area of skin right on top of the cheekbone is where I like to apply this the most. And then I'm also applying this right down the center of her nose. That's going to give you a little bit of a glow in the sunlight. So now I'm just brushing out her brows with a brow brush, just to kind of see, what natural brow there is to work with. And then I'm taking our eyebrow pencil in number 4, which is taupe, I believe, and I'm just lightly filling in her brows. My goal with her brows is not to reshape or reform them. I really just want to fill in the hairs and the framework that's already there, but I want to do it really lightly. So as you can see here, I am bringing the inner edge of the brow in closer toward her nose, just to kind of balance out the face, and then I'm using a Q-tip to blend the edges, because you don't want to see harsh edges with your eyebrows. So now I'm spraying one of my eyeshadow brushes with a little bit of water, and I am dipping that in our eyeshadow color Flashy, and that's what I'm going to use to line her bottom lash line. So Miss Jean has a little bit smaller eyes, and I do too, so I understand this eye shape very well. And especially as an aging woman, you don't want to apply harsh eyeliner, especially to the bottom lash line, because believe it or not, it ages you even more and it closes off your eye. So I'm using a shimmery, kind of a medium, cool brown color, and it makes Miss Jean's eyes look a little bit bigger, but it doesn't close her off and look harsh. So now I'm using our brown kohl pencil, and I am applying that to her inner waterline, and then pretty much in the roots of her lashes all the way across. I'm not applying it on top of her lash line, I'm applying it in her lash roots. And that's super important because, like I said, her eye shape is smaller. So if you apply liner on top of the lash line, it closes the eyes off even more. And the whole point of eyeliner is to accentuate the lashes. So you want to get that in the lash roots as much as possible. Okay, so I'm just kind of blending that out. Blending out the blush. So now I'm just applying some mascara to her eyelashes. I'm using a disposable lash mascara wand, and I'm just using Great Lash waterproof mascara. And I just want to make sure that those lashes are good and dry before having her look up to apply the mascara to the bottom lash line. So now I'm applying that to the bottom lash line, again using waterproof, especially in the summertime when mascara has more of a tendency to transfer. And next I'm just applying a little bit of a lip balm to Miss Jean's lips. She has an issue that she expressed with chapped lips and lipstick, so I wanted to do that before applying the lipstick. But now I'm also using our Duo Fix. This is a filler wax, a clear wax liner for people with fine lines around their lips. It will prevent the color from bleeding of their lipstick. So I applied that in a liner fashion all the way around her lips. And now I am getting ready to apply our lipstick in the color Slippery, which is a really great berry color. It's a high shine color, so it's going to give your lips that really nice shiny look without being too much like a gloss. And you know, for the aging woman, like, you really just want to think about like having a really nice bright, not bright, but like a lighter lip color that really accentuates your skin tone, your eye and hair color, and your features. And you notice that the lip color that I chose for her, which is Slippery, it's complementary to her eye and hair color and the cheek color that I chose for her. So the whole look really goes together and is one cohesive unit. And just using nice berry colors really makes a difference. So this is Miss Jean's look, and thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next week.